Good evening, high school football fans. This is High School Football America for July 23rd, 2015. I'm Jeff Fisher, host of the show and founder and editor-in-chief of High School Football America and highschoolfootballamerica.com. Welcome to year number 5. We are just so happy that we have reached this point with the show on the Artist First Radio Network and here on highschoolfootballamerica.com. Over 65,000 downloads is what each show averages, and I want to thank Scott Z and the team there at Artist First back in Ohio for making this show oh so popular. We're excited. The first show back on July 21st, 2011, and you can hear that show by going to our archives on highschoolfootballamerica.com or artistfirst.com. All of the shows there for you. We've had some of the greatest guests in high school football history and over the last 4 years on the show, and we thank everybody that's joined us. The list is a who's who list. You can actually see it on highschoolfootballamerica.com, and we've got a big show tonight for you. A couple of good guests, talking with Chris Wolfe, whose team, Male High School out of Kentucky, won the National Select 7-on-7 passing tournament last weekend, and Male High School, the 4th all-time winningest high school football program in America. Chris Wolfe has done a great job there with the Bulldogs, and we'll talk about that. And we'll get ready for the release of our High School Football America preseason top 25 a week from this Saturday on August 1st. One of the teams that will be in it, they've been near the top last couple of years running with our proprietary algorithm. St. John Bosco out of California. Jason Negro, the head coach there. It's his alma mater. He's done a great job with the Braves, and he will be joining us on the show to talk about what should be a fantastic year in Southern California for the Braves as they get ready to challenge in the very, very tough CIF Southern Section, Pac-5 division, and maybe a run back to the state championship. They won the state championship a couple of years ago, defeating De La Salle, and of course we know De La Salle is loaded, and they are going to be right near the top of that preseason poll. A lot of places out there already saying it's the number 1 team in the country. We'll find out next Saturday when we release that. But again, thank you to all the coaches and players that have taken part in the show, and more importantly, at 65,000 downloads, we thank everyone that listens to the show on a regular basis, whether it's live or via the download, so thank you for that. And we've got a big announcement coming up, by the way, also at the beginning of August that we're very, very happy about, a new partnership that we have, which will be very exciting and make big changes at High School Football America, so stay tuned for that. Want to thank all of our partners that make everything possible here on the show, beginning with Echo 1612. Instant replay on your sidelines, no longer a dream, folks. 8 seconds after the play is done, Echo 1612, the guys at Echo, Chad Cargill and Company, have created a system that's cost-effective and brings that replay right to your sideline on your iPad. Great thing is they've got cutting-edge technology. They invented this, so everybody's trying to catch up to them. You can get this by going to echo1612.com. No cellular plan needed, no data plan needed, no Wi-Fi needed. Folks, this is the thing of the future. They're selling them like hotcakes each and every day. You're going to run into an opponent that has this, and boy, that's going to make a big difference for them. Don't be left out, echo1612.com. Make sure you go to Southern Sports, TDI Razor website. The TDI Razor, the debris inhibitor razor, keep those pesky rubber pellets from field turf out of your shoes with the TDI Razor, razor spelled RAZUR.com. 23 great colors. It also saves you money on tape when it comes to spatting. If a lot of your players like to spat, it's expensive at $4 a roll. Tape being $4 a roll. Go to TDIRazor.com. Get a discount on your order by putting in the code HSFA. And also brought to you tonight by Crossover. If you're scouting your opponents without Crossover's game film breakdown platform, you're missing an opportunity to get a huge edge over the competition. Crossover service lets you upload game film from your hard drive, video camera, or other websites like Huddle. Their team of football experts will then clip and tag the game with player and formation info so that when you log into your account, you can filter the clips however you'd like. They'll also automatically prepare a comprehensive tendency report, which is huge, down and distance report for your staff, so you can see exactly what your opponents like to call in specific situations. We all know that every coach spends countless hours preparing for a game. It's not about that time you put in, it's about what you do with that time. That's Crossover's biggest advantage. It allows you to prep your time more efficiently and get an even deeper level of insight, since you don't have to waste time setting up the film. Check them out, Crossover. You're going to love them. You can sign in for a quick free demo. Sign up for a quick free demo. Crossover.com/football. That's crossover with a K.com/football. Just go to High School Football America. You can click on all of our partners' ads right there on the right-hand side of the website and go exactly to where you need to get all the information that you need. So we thank all of them for being a part. And we're going to rush through this because the two interviews with Coach Negro and Coach Wolfe tonight will take a little bit of time. I want to remind everyone, follow us on Twitter when we're not on the air at HSFB America, on Facebook at facebook.com/High School Football America. The 2-Minute Drill podcast, you can get it right on our website or free on iTunes. It's the greatest way to keep up with everything. And some great news that was breaking today you can read on the website. 5-star recruit out of St. Thomas Aquinas, Nick Bosa, following his brother to Ohio State. You can read that on highschoolfootballamerica.com. 49ers head coach Jim Tomsula from Western Pennsylvania. He loves going to high school football games on Friday night. Find out what he had to say about that yesterday on our website. And we've got a lot of other great things on there. Another story we put up just yesterday, people breaking down the New York high school football scene, saying, boy, for the third biggest state in the nation, not a lot of prospects coming out of there. So check it out. We've got a section that is state by state, so you can get all the information you need by going to highschoolfootballamerica.com. Okay, going to take our first break. When we come back, we're talking National Select 7-on-7 Championship Football with Chris Wolfe. The team from Kentucky captured the gold in Hoover, Alabama last week, taking down the home team, the Buccaneers. We'll talk with Coach Wolfe about the National Select 7-on-7 tournament. Instant replays on a high school football sideline? Seriously? Yes, the future is here with Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System. Echo's cutting-edge technology was the first to the market 2 years ago. Echo delivers instant replay to your sideline on an iPad within seconds of a play being finished so that you can make tomorrow's coaching changes today. This NFHS-approved product may be the biggest change in high school football since the invention of the helmet. Coaches, you'll gain a competitive edge by adding Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System to your coaching toolbox. How cool is this? The Echo Instant Replay Sideline System works with both your current booth and end zone cameras, plus, and this is an important point, Echo works without any cellular connection, data plans, or internet. The list of high school football programs using Echo 1612 system is growing daily, meaning your opponent may already have a game time advantage. You don't want to be left out, do you? The Echo 1612 advantage is simple. Echo plus an iPad equals instant replay on your sideline that improves your game planning. Seriously, you'll be making coaching adjustments in real time, not the day after. Except no copycats, Echo 1612 is the best on the market. Echo 1612's cutting-edge technology helps you make tomorrow's adjustments today. Learn more at echo1612.com. Field Turf rubber pellets, be gone. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing surfaces out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and locker rooms. The Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made in America. It's 70% nylon and 30% spandex, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable, machine washable, and more importantly, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor comes in 23 colors, and sizes are youth, medium, large, And for that extra Bigfoot, extra large. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III, Southern Sport Inc. created the debris inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Get a discount on your order by using the High School Football America code HSFA when you order at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled with a U at TDIRazor.com. Listen up, football coaches. You need to check out a new scouting film solution called Crossover. That's Crossover with a K. Crossover Intelligence for Football gives you the edge you need to defeat your opponents. They not only break down and analyze scouting games for you, but they give you interactive tendency reports to diagnose your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. Crossover is your personal advanced scout, accessible from any mobile device or PC, and even integrates with your existing film platform like Huddle. Just transfer your scouting film from your existing video exchange service to the Crossover website, and in as little as 12 hours, your film will be completely indexed and tagged. Each play will become its own clip, allowing you to search the footage for anything you'd like. Their interactive down and distance reports will let you visualize your opponent's play calls in every situation or formation. Crossover Intelligence will give you the scouting edge you need to defeat your opponents. Go to crossover.com/football to sign up for a quick 5-minute demo to see how it can work for your team. That's Crossover with a K, crossover.com/football. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger reminding all you dads out there, whenever you sit down and share your love and passion for the game of football, you do it with the kids over a bowl of Frosted Flakes. Well, this past weekend, a lot of football being played down in Alabama with a lot of good football teams that are going to find their way into the national ranking services around the country, including ours. And at the end of the day, one team put itself in position to maybe find itself in some national rankings before the year is out. The National Select 7-on-7 played in Hoover, Alabama. 32 of the best teams in the country with 13 states being represented and winning the tournament, coming through the winner's bracket, and then coming down to the end where they had to do a do-or-die battle with the home team Hoover was Male High School out of Louisville, Kentucky, and Chris Wolfe, the head coach there, entering his 6th season at Male, is on the line to talk about what was a very exciting weekend. I'm imagining, Coach, you're still a little jacked up. Welcome to the show.
Well, I appreciate it. We're all kind of struggling through practice this morning, but it's great to be on the show and looking forward to talking about the tournament.
Well, let's kind of set the scene here for everything. As I said, it's a top-notch field. Obviously you guys have to travel a little bit of a ways to get down there. So tell me a little bit about the goals going in. I mean, did you guys have it to win it, or did you just say, hey, we need to get ourselves in position for fall practice coming up?
Well, we have a talented class of 2016. Skill-wise, those guys were undefeated as freshmen. We're 12-2. Many of them were starters as sophomores, 11-1 last year. So they've had success. Those guys are used to winning. There's 3 kids in the class with D1 offers. So it's a talented class. So the biggest problem we have in Kentucky is we go on a dead period June 25th to July 9th. We're not allowed to do anything. And so we come out of that dead period, and a lot of teams in the South have been really ramped up their 7-on-7. So this was our second tournament. The first tournament was kind of just to get us back in gear. So we felt like we had learned a lot from the first tournament. That was in Dalton, Georgia. And we made some corrections, and we were going down there. We knew there was going to be some good teams down there. But we had a lot of confidence in what we could do. We're just going to play our game and just whatever happens, I guess.
On the line tonight on High School Football America, Chris Wolfe, head coach at Louisville's Male High School, one of the best high schools ever in high school football, coming in this year, fourth in the all-time wins list in America, and Chris has done a great job. You mentioned that the team you have coming back has done very well. I want to tell the listeners that you've had two really good seasons. Last year, perfect regular season, losing to eventual state champion, and everybody knows Trinity down there in the Louisville parts. Lost to them in overtime in the playoffs, and then the year before that made it to the state semifinals in the biggest classification in Kentucky. Scott County defeated you in the state semifinals. So obviously you've got some things rolling there at this point. Before we get into the rest of the 7-on-7, tell me a little bit about what you did, because I know you've turned the program into a little bit different from before when you got there. Tell us a little bit about the foundation, what your philosophy is, wide open attack and all that.
Right. Well, when we first got there, we were actually a running team. Our first year in 2010, we went to the state finals. We were 6A state runner-up, lost to Trinity in the state finals. But as I got there, and when you're in the program, it's a whole lot easier to kind of feel, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, get a feel for who you got to beat and how to beat them. And after the 2010, I realized that our strength is going to be, we're going to have quarterbacks, and we can talk about our quarterback this year a little bit more later, but we're going to have dedicated quarterbacks in the program, guys that are going to work year-round. They're going to be guys you can count on to make reads, to make throws, the dedicated kid that you can build an offense around. And we're going to have some speed and space guys. And so it made sense for us to take advantage of that year in and year out. Now, right now we're in a cycle of big linemen. We have a good defense and offensive line, big linemen, and but year in and year out we usually don't. And so the constant for us will be talented quarterbacks and speed and space. So that's where we moved to running a more spread, wide-open attack on offense, no huddle like a lot of teams, and hurry up. We're the fastest team that we see. I coach the defense. We're the fastest team that we see all year, so we feel like we're probably the fastest team in the state as far as snapping a ball and running plays and those kinds of things.
Talking to Chris Wolfe tonight, male football in Kentucky, winners of the National Select 7-on-7 this past weekend in Hoover, Alabama. You mentioned your quarterback, Hayden Shelton, had a great tournament. You're going to have to replace a good one. I noticed as I was getting ready for this that Davis Mattingly had a couple of good years for you guys. So tell us a little bit about the shoes that Hayden has to fill and how well you think he's going to do and how well he did this past weekend.
Well, a couple of things about Davis that people need to know. Davis was the 6A Player of the Year in the state of Kentucky. So the best player, as voted on by the other coaches, was the Player of the Year. He was the two-time District Player of the Year in 6A, and our district is by far the top. I don't even think there's an argument. The toughest district. We have Trinity, we have St. Xavier, we have DuPont Manual. So Hayden was sitting behind a guy who, and Davis is 6'4", 215 pounds. He's now at the University of Kentucky. So Hayden was sitting behind a really talented kid. But Hayden is a very talented kid. He throws the ball really well, obviously, from the tournament. He's got a quick release. He reads defenses very well. And the one thing you can't show in 7-on-7 is he's very mobile. He's on the track team. So a lot of, when you lose a 6A Player of the Year, a lot of people say, well, they're not going to be the same. We return all of our starting receivers, and then we put in Hayden, and Hayden is an excellent quarterback. So, we feel like we're not going to miss a beat. And the tournament kind of solidified that for me, or validated it, if you will, that Hayden is going to be a guy where we can do all the stuff we did before and hopefully at a higher level now that a lot of these guys have been 3-year starters at receivers that are just better each year.
Chris Wolfe on the line tonight talking about male high school, their win in the Nationals Select 7-on-7. We're going to talk about the season coming up. You obviously hear that there's some pretty darn good talent there. Tell me a little bit about your philosophy. Obviously, as a wide-open offense, you guys must like the 7-on-7. I've got a lot of coaches that run the football still. I'm from the Pennsylvania area originally, and we're still trying to figure out the forward pass. So tell me about 7-on-7 and how it translates into your fall camp. I mean, do you like it? Is it something that's good? Is it just kind of, sometimes it's a little overrated? What's your philosophy?
Well, if you take it for what it is, and it's working on your passing offense, and the varieties in your pass offense, you have your quick game, you have your play action game. We have some full field reads where our quarterback can check down to the fifth progression, and we've had that happen before. So we use it within our offense. One of the things that people, if they saw us at the tournament, we ran play action. We have some things that we do play action out of. So we're in the pistol set, and we run play action and throw the ball down the field. So we didn't get out of our offense at all. We run the same plays. We see a big advantage in being able to give the quarterback reps. The biggest thing to be successful that I found in throwing the ball, and I'm certainly not the passing guru, is you just got to give your quarterback as many possible reps and develop a rhythm with his receivers. And I have not found a better way to do that than a competitive 7-on-7, where the defense is just geared to stop your offense. And the funny thing is that people would say, well, you're getting gimmick defenses because you don't see those in the regular season. Well, we do. We throw the ball so well that we see 7-on-7 pass defenses in the regular season. So we have people that drop 8, so we even have tougher defenses to throw against us in the regular season. So there's no better way to prepare your passing offense. And we still use the play action game, like I mentioned, to get those kind of reps in a high level of competition. And then the intangible part of it that the head coach notices, guys coming together, the us against them mentality. Here we were down in Hoover, Alabama. We were the Kentucky school, and people kept saying, where are you from, where are you from? And then having to face Hoover on their home field was, again, kind of a circle the wagons type of moment that coaches, we love those kinds of things because it just brings your team together. So if you're asking what you can get out of 7-on-7, you can get a lot out of 7-on-7, particularly if you're the style of offense that does value the pass. I see a huge importance on 7-on-7, at least in our program, and it helps us through the regular season.
Well, to quote Bob Dylan, as I tell my old-time coaching buddies out there, the times they are a-changin'. I think 7-on-7 is here to stay, and it does help. We're talking with Chris Wolfe tonight, head coach at Male High School in Louisville, Kentucky, and we're going to talk about that Hoover finale here in a second. But tell me, and you had a couple impressive wins coming through the winner's bracket. You were the winner's bracket champion, knocking off Oxford from Mississippi, Mallard Creek from North Carolina, two-time defending champ there. Both of those teams finding their way into Max Prep's preseason early contenders poll. At what point in the competition on Friday and Saturday did you feel like, hey, you know what, this is coming together? We got a shot here.
It was the McGill-Tulane game. McGill-Tulane out of, I think they're Mobile, Alabama. We had a strategy involved. We knew that, like you mentioned, the Oxford, Mississippi team and the Mallard Creek team, that there were elite receivers down there, and the Oxford, Mississippi team had maybe 3, top-notch receivers. But one of the things that we noticed was that they weren't rotating anybody. They would leave the 5 guys out there. We brought a second team, and they're younger guys, but we would steal 1 or 2 series a game with our second-team receivers, and it was a huge advantage. So our guys we get 3 or 4 series out of our 1s and 1 or 2 out of our 2s, and we were able to stay fresh. And then defensively, strategy-wise, we knew the first 2 drives it would be difficult to get a stop. But we wanted to force the other team to throw 9 times. Those receivers had to come out of those stances 9 times and get a maximum number of plays to score. And then by the 3rd drive, those great 5-star receivers, they were just gassed. They were just gassed. I mean, we have 2 corners. One of them's 5'10", the other one's 5'6", and they're good athletes. But when you're going against a 6'2", 6'3" receiver like the kid from Oxford, it was pretty tough. But when you get to the 3rd drive or 4th drive, and you've made them come out of their stance 20-something times in 97-degree heat, and it's the 3rd or 4th game of the day, we started to see an advantage. So we kind of played that strategy offensively and defensively. Defensively, our defense was, hey, bend but don't break, make them complete, come out of their stance, and then we'll take a few, when it gets compressed, the field gets compressed, Then we'll take a couple chances on stopping that short throw and that kind of thing. And that kind of played out all day. And I kept talking to my my twos, and I said, "You guys are so valuable today because you're the best ones out here."
Mm-hmm.
And I have a kid that's going to be a sophomore receiver. He gets on the field and he's fresh. He runs a post route and he beats the DB by 15 yards. But it's having those fresh legs out there and having that depth. And the other thing as a coach, you got to trust. You're taking these D1 guys that we have. We have 3 D1 kids with offers in that first group, and putting in guys who are sophomores and just saying, hey, we trust you. You're fresh. Go out and play. And they went out and made plays, and we had many of them caught touchdown passes. So that was huge for us. And I really did not see any other team doing that.
Interesting. And by the way, you're building depth in the process with that philosophy when you lose those kids to college. On the line tonight on High School Football America is Chris Wolfe, the head coach at Male High School in Louisville, Kentucky, winning the National Select 7-on-7. We're going to look ahead to some of those names here in just a second, but let's wrap up the 7-on-7. Like you mentioned earlier, you get that opportunity at 7-on-7, but Hoover, Alabama, the team in Alabama for a long time, and they've got to beat you twice. They do it the first time, and then you get a winner-take-all type of matchup there. Tell me a little bit about that going on. I mean, you got to go when you're playing Hoover in the home field, whether you've got pads or not.
Well, we jumped out. We jumped out on them. We scored on the very first play, and we had actually scored on the first play several times in that tournament. We scored on the first play, which is huge for us, momentum-wise. And so we led in both games. We had a 10-point lead in both games and, just couldn't finish out the first game. The first game they had to go for 2, and they went for 2 and made the play. If we'd stopped it there, we'd have been done with the first game. But, again, give them credit. They made the plays when they had to make them. But we felt like, in those games that, we were the better team, at least after the first game. But they made the plays in the end, so our guys the second game was similar. We jumped out again, but we were able to keep some space. They came back and cut it to 20-16, but it was under a minute. We had many times throughout the day where our offense got the ball with under a minute, and so we had a strategy on how to win that game in under a minute. And you go to those go-to plays. Just got to complete a couple passes. You got to stay in bounds, all that kind of stuff. And so we had executed that really well throughout the day. And so once we got to that point, I could just see my receivers. They'd come to me, so we got this. We got it. Let's go. Let's take care of business. So, when you play 14 games, you've seen every situation. We won 2 games on the very last play with an interception where we were tie and they were driving. And last play of the game we intercepted. We beat Hillsborough, who beat us in pool play. But we beat them on the last play in overtime with an interception for the Mike linebacker. So when we got to Hoover, actually we had been in so many kind of nail biters, I guess. I don't think the kids were intimidated one bit. It was just a matter of continuing to do what we do and try to execute, knowing that everybody we played has players that can make plays, and we've seen them. And so it's just a matter, which team's going to be able to make the last one. And in that last game, our guys held on. They were confident and was able to pull out the win.
And take some nice momentum into practices and camp. And tell me a little bit about the return home and putting the team back together, everybody there. There had to be a pretty big celebration. How do you build on the momentum of the National Select 7-on-7 gold medal?
Well, the biggest thing I heard from my seniors was that, we really finished. And, you mentioned earlier, we've been close the last 2 years. We had beat Trinity in the regular season, of course, and then the playoff game, it went to overtime, and, anytime it goes to overtime, it's anybody's game. And then the year before that, we felt like we just put out a clunker in the state semis, maybe, just not ready for that kind of pressure. So these guys were really just like, now they've just got to finish. And so I heard them talking to each other. We finally finished. We did, we took it to the end. We won it. This is just the first step. And then some of that, I know people say it's just 7-on-7. Yeah, it is. It's not real football, but the mental aspect of that is real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is the team building is real. The finishing, the running the routes, all of that stuff is real. So people want to dismiss it, or the people who don't really do it, and that's fine. Everybody's got their own philosophy for what they want to do. But I've seen a real value for it, not just from running plays and throwing things, but the mental aspect and the character building with the players, with one another. They start to trust. Just like I mentioned, those second-team offensive guys, you don't think that Warnes now can look at those guys and say, all right, I need a break, and know that he's going to step in and make a play, and that kid is going to have confidence now that he's done it at these tournaments. So, there's just a lot to be said for that. And so we think it's a huge springboard for us on what we want to do.
Coach Chris Wolfe on the line tonight. Male high school out of Kentucky, Louisville. They've been good for a long, long time. We're going to talk about their big rivalry game at the end here, but you've been kind of beating around the bush there. I know you're chomping at the bit to get some of these kids' names in here that have those offers, and some of the kids up front. I love talking about the big guys. So let's start on offense first. Who are some of the kids that you're expecting big things from that can lead you back to that kind of championship game situation for you this year?
Well, I think the one that everybody talks about, his name is Keon Wakefield. Keon's been a 4-year starter for us. He started at DB as a freshman, and we moved him to receiver. He was All-State last year. He's got seven offers, Division I, Louisville, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Purdue, Cincinnati. And he's going to make his decision on Thursday, I believe. So he's finally decided what he wants to do. But he's a guy that's been a 40-catch guy each year for us, 600 to 800 yards, and returns punts. Zachary Smith is a senior, 2016 kid also. He's got offers from Southern Illinois and SEMO. Was a 40-catch, 600-yard guy last year. Also returned 4 kicks for touchdown, including a 99-yard touchdown return in the big playoff game against Trinity. He was the guy that, if you've seen the final game against Hoover, he scored on the first play, and then they tried the bracketing, which allowed Keon to get open. So those two kind of feed off of one another. Running back Devin Gentry, who also has offers from Austin P, Southern Illinois, SEMO. Devin is one of the best track athletes in the state. He's a 10.74, 100-meter guy. He's a 40-inch vertical guy. He won the state in the long jump, I think 23 feet 4 inches, something like that. Just an incredible athlete, and he's our running back. And so he was a huge value to have a 10-7 guy that could come out of the backfield and run right down the middle of the field and catch the ball. So those three, and then I mentioned Hayden, who's a first-year starter quarterback, Hayden Shelton. But really, he's got all the tools to be successful. On the line, we've got 2 big guards, Noah Bringer, who's 6'2", 315, Isaiah Arnold, who's 6'3", 360 pounds. Both of those guys have been 3-year starters. So offensively, and here I'm missing the one guy, Ethan Britt, who's my tight end. Ethan was all-district tight end last year. Scored a 35 on the ACT and is a 4.2 GPA, 3-year starter, 6', 200 kid who, for our offense, plays the Y. But he's tough enough to put his hand down and block defensive ends, and he can he'll detach out and catch the ball over the middle. So we've got a lot of guys back. All those guys have played a ton for us. And so things look really good offensively.
Tell me a little bit about up front, though, because, again, like you said, you can get it all done, but if nobody's blocking and keeping guys off the quarterback or anything like that, it doesn't work. So let's get those guys that don't get the notoriety, get their names in there. Go right, left, right, however you want to do it. I want to hear them all.
Okay, yeah. Well, on the right side, we're still kind of figuring out what we want to do at right tackle, but we think it's going to be a kid, Chris Perkins, a 6', 260 guy, right guard. Probably Isaiah Arnold, the kid I just mentioned, who's been all district for a while, 6'2", 360. Center's probably going to be a kid named James Hurrigan. James is a smaller kid, but incredibly athletic, probably about a 5'10", 230 kid. Left guard, Noah Bringer, who's been a 3-year starter for us, captain, 6'2", 315. And then left tackle, he returns Tyler Buckner, who's a 6'1", 260-pound kid. So we are big on the offensive line.
Yeah.
The center is the smallest. The center is the smallest at 5'10", 230. But you got 2 300-pounders and 2 260-pounders. and three guys that have started last year. So feel good about that.
Make you happy, and I know earlier in the interview you said you're the defensive guy there. You're always facing the fastest team there in your own offense. Tell us about the kids that you have that can stop the opponents to get this team deep into the playoffs again this year.
Well, the biggest thing for us is we return our best defensive player, who ended up only playing one game last year, got hurt in the second game. His name is Marcus Davis. As a sophomore, 15 years old, Marcus was the leading tackler on our defense, playing defensive end. And we lost him last year for virtually the whole season in the second game. He'll be back. He is a game changer for us. He's 6'2", 250-pound defensive end with a high motor, long arms, and can really run. So having him back is going to be huge. And up front, we have everybody back. Paul Blanco plays D-tackle, 6'1", 280 pounds, great plugger up front. We also have Tony Smizer, who started at nose guard for us. He's a 5'10", 235-pound kid, also with a great motor, gets to the ball. Zach Hall, who plays our hybrid outside linebacker, 6'1", 235 pounds. Jack Kersey, which is a perfect linebacker name, and he is a linebacker. He'll play inside linebacker. Jack's a 6', 220-pound kid, started last year for us. In the secondary, we got two all-district guys back. Our corner, Demetrius Holt, who's a 4.45 guy and has a great motor, plays corner. And James Todd, who's our free safety, covers the middle field. He's a 5'10", 160 kid. We have a junior corner in Nate Hobbs, who also plays basketball, so he's extremely athletic. So he's going to be a big help. And both of our outside safeties, both of them intercepted passes in big games last year. Blake Pierce and Cameron Cuff are both back on the defense. So a lot of experience back on defense too. So they get a lot of work against this offense in practice. So it helps them quite a bit.
Yeah, it's good. Chris Wolfe on the line, male football, talking about it tonight on High School Football America out of Louisville, Kentucky. And one thing came to my mind as I was preparing for this. Here you guys are a public school, Trinity and St. X. They've been getting some notoriety in the national and all that. How do you break through? A lot of people complaining public versus private. How do you guys break through the clutter? Because you had a big year beating them last year in the regular season and all that. So how have you been able to accomplish that?
Yeah, well, we've beaten Trinity 3 of the last 4 games, and we've beaten St. X 3 in a row, just to make sure we got it together.
That's okay. No, you can brag. Go ahead.
But that's a great point. And we have a philosophy. Our philosophy is those that complain are not going to get it done. So the best way to beat those guys is to quit complaining about it, because all that does is suck mental and physical energy out of you. So we just coordinate our energies in getting better and focusing on being successful against those people, and let other people complain about the public-private. There's obviously differences. There's advantages. There's not Title IX. There's all that. We could go through a litany of things that the difference is, but what is that going to do? How is that going to help you be successful? So, our philosophy is, if you can't change it, then don't worry about it. Focus on yourself and make us the best we can be. We think about our opponents. We study them in the off season. We game plan for them. We have schemes that are designed to attack what we think will be successful. But that's in the football realm. The thing outside of football we can't control, so we don't think about it. And I truly say that we don't worry about it. We don't complain about it. Tell us whose district we're in and who we can play and who we got to beat and all that kind of stuff, and let us go and work on it.
Just get it done on the field is the best way to put it. Chris Wolfe on the line, male high school out of Kentucky, out of Louisville, talking about the program and their big win this past weekend in the National Select 7-on-7. Before we let you go here, I mentioned it earlier. You got that rivalry game against Manual, and it's called the Old Rivalry. Goes back to 1893. Tell us a little bit about that. Educate us. How good is that? How intense is it? Is it one of those things that just circle that one every year?
It's unreal. If you want to see a high school football game in a high school venue, we're not talking a college stadium or a pro stadium. In a high school venue, our stadium seats 10,000. We had 11,000 there last year. We had people that couldn't get out of our parking lot for 2.5 hours. I mean, it is wall-to-wall people, and it's 10 deep around the track. It's a crazy atmosphere, and it's a whole week for us. I mean, it's the tradition of these two teams playing is amazing. When you listen to the stories of playing since 1893 is and absolutely nuts. And then one of the things about Male is we have the H as our logo, and people are always like, H, why not an M? Well, back in the day it was male and manual, and then you didn't need two M's, so Male was the first school, and so they took the H as the high school in the town, and the manual took the M. So it's a pretty unique rivalry, and the intensity is just unreal. And of course we won last year. We got the barrel back. We do have a barrel that we play for, so there's everything that goes around with that, and the kids chirp about it year round. So it's an experience, and as a high school football player and a high school coach, it's a blessing to be able to participate in something that has that kind of tradition and has that kind of legend to it. Not everybody gets to do those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's involved in it. So to be able to be in that situation is really a blessing for the coaches and players, and they appreciate it, and they understand that they're a lucky group to get to do it.
Like the history lesson there on the M and the H. That's a good one. And Coach, let's wrap up with you talked about the kids, getting maybe over the hump on finishing and all that. What are some of the things you believe at this point here in July that this team has to do to reach the goals that you think they can, which are pretty lofty, I would think, at this point in the season?
Well, they are, and one thing is just not to think about it as the lofty goal, and it is the boring, mundane type of that you hear Coach speak all the time. But really, what can you control is what you can control today, and we try to do something every day to make us a little bit better. Maybe it's get more flexible. Maybe it's better conditioning. Maybe whatever it is. Maybe we go in the jugs machine a second time. But it really is the small little things every day eventually add up to huge gains, and that's all you can do. You can only focus on the prospect of today, and I think everybody hears that quite a bit. But those of us that are in coaching realize it's about the only way to handle it. You give these kids too big a picture, and the pressure would just bury them.
Oh, yeah. Well, as they say, coach speak exists for a reason. It's just like stereotypes do. It's usually because they're right for the most part. Coach, we really appreciate you. We appreciate you taking the time to join us on the show, educating us a lot about your program and your school there, and great success to you in 2015. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff.
Very welcome. Taking a break, coming back with more. You're listening to High School Football America, brought to you by Echo 1612. Get instant replay on your sideline on your iPad 8 seconds after the play ends. It's all cost effective, done without Wi-Fi or a data plan. We'll be right back. Instant replays on a high school football sideline? Seriously? Yes, the future is here with Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System. Echo's cutting-edge technology was the first to the market 2 years ago. Echo delivers instant replay to your sideline on an iPad within seconds of a play being finished so that you can make tomorrow's coaching changes today. This NFHS-approved product may be the biggest change in high school football since the invention of the helmet. Coaches, you'll gain a competitive edge by adding Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System to your coaching toolbox. How cool is this? The Echo Instant Replay Sideline System works with both your current booth and end zone cameras, plus, and this is an important point, Echo works without any cellular connection, data plans, or internet. The list of high school football programs using Echo 1612 system is growing daily, meaning your opponent may already have a game time advantage. You don't want to be left out, do you? The Echo 1612 advantage is simple. Echo plus an iPad equals instant replay on your sideline that improves your game planning. Seriously. You'll be making coaching adjustments in real time, not the day after. Except no copycats, Echo 1612 is the best on the market. Echo 1612's cutting-edge technology helps you make tomorrow's adjustments today. Learn more at echo1612.com. Field Turf rubber pellets, be gone. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing surfaces out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and locker rooms. The Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made in America. It's 70% nylon and 30% spandex, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable, machine washable, and more importantly, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor comes in 23 colors, and sizes are youth, medium, large, and for that extra big foot, extra large. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Get a discount on your order by using the High School Football America code HSFA when you order at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled with a U at TDIRazor.com. Listen up, football coaches. You need to check out a new scouting film solution called Crossover. That's Crossover with a K. Crossover Intelligence for Football gives you the edge you need to defeat your opponents. They not only break down and analyze scouting games for you, but they give you interactive tendency reports to diagnose your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. Crossover is your personal advanced scout, accessible from any mobile device or PC, and even integrates with your existing film platform like Huddle. Just transfer your scouting film from your existing video exchange service to the Crossover website, and in as little as 12 hours, your film will be completely indexed and tagged. Each play will become its own clip, allowing you to search the footage for anything you'd like. Their interactive down and distance reports will let you visualize your opponent's play calls in every situation or formation. Crossover Intelligence will give you the scouting edge you need to defeat your opponents. Go to crossover.com/football to sign up for a quick 5-minute demo to see how it can work for your team. That's Crossover with a K, crossover.com/football. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by Echo 1612. Coaches get instant replay on an iPad on your sideline 8 seconds after the play ends without Wi-Fi, a cellular connection, or a data plan. Learn more at echo1612.com. All right, well, as we mentioned at the top of the show, the High School Football America preseason top 25 coming out a week from this Saturday, August the 1st, using once again this year for the third straight year our proprietary algorithm. And what better way to get ready for the release of that than talk about one of the teams that will be in it. I'm not giving anything away. I'm not saying how high, how low, but I'm going to tell you that St. John Bosco out here in Southern California, Bellflower, California, under head coach Jason Negro, will once again be in the mix, and why not? A couple of years ago, a perfect season, 16-0, a state championship in California, finished number 2 overall on our national top 25. And last year, another great year, finished number 15, a couple of losses to two teams that were very, very good themselves in Bishop Gorman and Corona Centennial. The Braves, 3 straight undefeated seasons in the Trinity League, and that's tough to do one year. To do it 3 years in a row, not bad. They've got a tough national schedule once again this year, and Coach Negro is on the line to talk about the Braves 2015 style. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jeff. I really appreciate you having me, and, it's an exciting time of year as we get ready for this 2015 season.
I'm sure the blood is pumping. You had a pretty good 7-on-7 summer season there, and I guess let's start with this. With the blood flowing, you start hearing the things I just said there, 3 straight undefeated seasons in the Trinity League, the state championship, the national rankings, not only with us, with a lot of the organizations out there. Being an alum of the school, when you hear that, I mean, have you had a chance to sit back and go, wow, we've done some special things here since 2010?
Yeah, I think so. And when you have a time in the off season like we've had, since January, to sit back and reflect on what we've been able to accomplish, it's certainly really gratifying, and it's satisfying to know that all the hard work and all the efforts that we're putting in as a coaching staff, the players, and our administration is paying off. And, as you know, as a high school football coach, we spend a lot of time away from our families, anytime from July all the way through December in our case. Mm-hmm. And, it's just really kind of gives us a just something to look back upon and say, man, maybe it's all that work is worth it. So it's really exciting to think about the accomplishments, and we believe we've only scratched the surface on the success that we're going to have here at Bosco.
Jason Negro on the line tonight. High School Football America, St. John Bosco Braves going to be in the top 25 when it's released next week, and let's dive into it. A great run last year, a tough schedule this year. So let's first talk about the summer season. You won the Surf City 7-on-7 in Huntington Beach a couple of weeks ago now, I guess, and before that, pretty good run at the Battle at the Beach in Edison. How happy are you with the summer game and what that's done to get you ready for fall camp?
I think it's something that we're really excited about. The 7-on-7 circuit out here in California it played at a super high level, and the biggest reason why is because these kids play year round. I mean, with the weather that we have, our kids are playing on all-star teams from January all the way through June, and then once we get them here in the summer, then we kind of do our team concept, and we go start competing against some of the better high schools and some of the elite competition here in Southern California. So when you're able to go out there and be successful, and you're able to, see what your new team looks like. We graduated some pretty talented players last year, and for us to be able to see and evaluate some of the up-and-coming kids and how they're going to be able to translate into the season, it's pretty exciting for us. And we've played super well this summer. Our quarterbacks have done a pretty good job, and we're super talented on the defensive side of the ball. We have a lot of returners on that area. I think we're going to be pretty, stout on that side, and I think our receivers are pretty good as well, and we got a lot of young kids. So the future's bright. I think the current, group that we have is going to put a pretty good run together, and if we could put it all together in the fall, I think it's going to translate to a pretty successful season for us.
Okay, let's then break it down. Everyone knows that Josh Rosen was incredible for you guys. He's now on to UCLA, so let's start at the quarterback position. You told me before we started rolling tape here that you got to sort some things out, but you might have a front runner going into camp, so tell us who the kids are that are competing for Josh's position now after a 3-year run for him.
Josh was a tremendous player, and there's no getting around that. We're going to miss him, and we're going to miss his skills. And, so much more of Josh's talents were just on the football field. And he did a great job off the field, being a leader here on campus and being a leader in our locker room. And, so it's a lot that we're going to have to replace. But I think we have some pretty good kids that are ready to step up. And we have a senior and 3 sophomores that are kind of battling for that starting spot. And I think the senior, who's Quentin Davis, kind of has the inside track of getting that job. He's done a great work this summer in the summer passing league circuit, and I'm really pleased with his performance. But we got 3 sophomores that are right on his heels, and we're a program that we constantly are talking about competing, and just because you have a job to start the season doesn't necessarily mean you're going to end it that way. We're going to put our kids in the best position to win ball games, and the guys that give us the best chance to do that are going to be the guys. So, whether it's Real Mitchell or Jack Alexander or Julian Boyd, whoever those 3 sophomores are to come and kind of compete with Quentin, and it's still going to be an evolving process, and we're going to continue to do that through the season. But I think right now Quentin's got the inside track. Jason
Negro on the line tonight, head coach at St. John Bosco here in Southern California, a program that he has built. It's his alma mater, and he's built it since 2010, and again, 3 straight undefeated seasons in the Trinity League. Obviously Sean McGrew coming back, all-state player, just kind of a great athlete, can do it all for you guys. But before we get to what Sean does, I think he can't do it without what you told me a couple of months ago is a pretty darn big front line there. Tell us a little bit about the offensive line and some of the kids that you like that are going to be opening holes for Sean.
Yeah, we're really excited about that group. I think this could be the best group that we've had, maybe ever, and it's especially going to be compared to that 2013 group. So we're very big and physical guys up front, and the nice thing is 4 of the 5 guys are back from last year. Starting at the left tackle, Wyatt Davis, he's a 5-star offensive tackle. It's going to be a junior. Our left guard, Ben Holmes, is back. He's been really helpful for us as well. He started last year, so that's 2 guys on the left side of the ball. Our center is back. He's going to be a senior. Matt Smith is a tremendous player, and he's a real smart kid, and that's what you need at that position. And then Tavita Moe and Joe Murphy are the 2 guys on the right side at the guard and tackle spots. We're big and physical. We just did it the other day, and we averaged 6'3", 322 at our line spot. So we're pretty large, but a little bit of it is we're a little too big. So we got to cut some weight on some of those guys and get them down. And I think with the tempo of the offense that we run and what we're going to accomplish here in the summer when we get into fall camp, in terms of our conditioning program, we'll get them where we need them to be. And I think we could be pretty good. And having Sean back at the running back spot for the third straight year, and he's probably one of the best backs in the state without question. I think it's safe to say we're going to run the ball a little bit this year.
I had a chance to talk to him when he made his verbal commitment to Washington a couple of months ago, and I was really impressed with how, just polite and down-to-earth and focused and willing to spread kind of the love, as all running backs should, to the offensive line. Let us know how good Sean is. Obviously, the best in the state says a lot, but what makes him that type of player?
I think his work ethic is one of the things, and it's humility. I mean, Sean's a super humble guy. He's not the biggest in stature, and I think that's something that really drives him. We did our heights and weights the other day, and he's 5'9", about 175. But he's a physical type runner. He's obviously got the speed. He finished second in the state in the 100 meters this year as a junior. So obviously, it kind of translates how he runs on the track. It's how he's going to run on the football field. But his humility and the way he approaches the game is just great. I mean, he understands, the reason why he's successful is because what we do offensively and what he has up in front with the offensive line. So for him to be able to understand that and know that it's not all about him, it just makes him a great player. And as long as he continues to do that, he's going to have a super successful career, not only in high school, but also at the college level, because he's just one of those guys that gets it. So many times athletes nowadays are all focused on themselves and all about them, and they would rather their stats being through the roof rather than win games, and that's totally opposite of Sean. And it's just great for us to be able to use him as a role model and for him to be able to say, look, this is the kind of guy that we want in our program, somebody that's going to really, play for the team and not for themselves. And I think that's the reason why, someone's looking down on him and saying, you're going to be this kind of player.
Talking St. John Bosco Braves football tonight on High School Football America. Head coach Jason Negro on the line. Let's flip to the other side. Another chat we had a couple of months ago was about that secondary, and you had a pretty good one a couple of years ago as well. And I think your words at that point were, they can be like that 2013 group. So tell us about those players and how they have shaped up over the summer, and do you think they can live up to that 2013 group?
I really do. I mean, I think that they can be as equally talented. They certainly on paper have the same accolades. I mean, all four kids currently right now have Division I offers, and all four of them have, the opportunity to even, strengthen their hold on that, who's the best secondary ever at Bosco, because, they still have a year to go out there and play and prove what they can do. Now, again, this is a team sport, and I think our kids understand that. So, the one thing that 13 group has over them is if they have the hardware. They have the 16-0, they have the state championship, and they have the rings to prove it. So these guys still have to go out and try to accomplish what they did. And again, it's not about individual goals, it's about the team game, and I think these guys are really hungry. Coming off of last year's season, they're hungry to go out there and try to prove that they're as talented as they are. And, for them, it's really good because our defense took a lot of shots last year because we had to replace, 10 starters off that 2013 team. And these guys all kind of, took it on the chin a little bit in the media. And why aren't they as good as the 13 team, blah, blah, blah. Well, now in 2015, they're going to have that opportunity to show what they can do.
Jason Negro on the line tonight, St. John Bosco's head coach here in Southern California. And once again, Coach, a cupcake schedule. You've got the Trinity League, which we know is horrible. And then let's see, a team from Oregon, Central Catholic, pretty good. A trip way back east to St. Peter's Prep, state champ there. Tell me a little bit about how you're going to approach this. I know you're going to give me a little coach speak here, a game at a time. But aside from that, what else do you have to do to keep this team focused on that week-to-week that situation?
You know what I mean? It's just that. I know it's cliche, but a good friend of mine, who was at Gorman, Tony Sanchez, and I would talk about it all the time. And it's a game at a time approach. And we would talk about it constantly. Last year he went through that whole thing, going undefeated and trying to win himself a national title. And we did it and tried to do that in 2013. So we talk a lot about that game, one game at a time approach. And I think that's something that we really live by. You have to be that way with playing the schedule that we play. We just don't have the opportunity to say, okay, we're going to circle this date on our calendar and we're going to gear up for that, because if we do that, we're going to get beat 2 or 3 times, leading up to it, and we certainly don't want to do that. Our approach is basically we're going to take it as a weekly test. We're going to prepare as hard as we possibly can for the opponent that we're going to play, and we're going to go out there and try to play at the highest level that we can and worry about ourselves. We don't ever worry about our opponents. We don't ever worry about who we're playing or try to get geared up for one game, because we understand to have to go through the Trinity League and try to play those 5 weeks thinking ahead, there's no way that you can handle it. And then we have to get into the Pac-5 playoffs, which are probably as competitive as any playoff bracket in the country. So we know and understand, what we have to do. And if we're able to get through the Trinity League, get through the Pac-5 playoffs, and then we got De La Salle sitting there at the end, I mean, that's quite a tall task. So if anybody's able to go through that and get to that point and ultimately beat De La Salle, those are pretty lofty expectations. And if you're trying to sit there and say we're going to circle De La Salle at the end of the thing, you're never going to get there. So the reason why we take it one game and approach is for us to not overlook anybody, because anybody on our schedule is certainly quality enough opponent to beat us, and we don't want to allow that to happen.
St. John Bosco football and high school football America tonight with Jason Negro. The sister school there back east, Don Bosco, that's where you're going to play St. Peter's Prep. And it's not so much about that game, but last year you guys flew to Hawaii, which is a long flight. Tell me a little bit about how that helps you, because, in the case of going to Hawaii, you're picking up some time. Going east, you're losing 3 hours. So how have you thought about that? I know again, you're not looking that far ahead, but for the travel purposes and how you get these high school kids ready to do that, it's got to be a task.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, we're certainly no strangers to travel. We've done it, for the 4 or 5 years that I've been here. We want to try to at least take one travel trip every year, and we're going to continue to do that because we think our kids really enjoy it. And again, our whole idea and the motto behind our school is a college preparatory school, so we want to try to get these kids ready for college. So traveling is not an issue. I think the biggest thing is I think for myself is I'm not afraid to try to call some people and figure out, how it's done and what's the best way of doing it. When we were going back to New Jersey, I went and spent some time with Bob Johnson over at Mission Viejo because they went back and played at Don Bosco a few years back. I've called Justin Allenbaugh over at De La Salle. I know he's gone back east and played. So I just called those guys and asked them, what do you guys do? When do you leave? How do you, approach, the social activities that you're doing and things like that? And if you just talk to some people that have done it and obviously been successful at it, it just makes it a little bit easier for us. So I think we have a pretty good game plan ahead. We've been planning since January for this trip. We're going to leave out on Tuesday, and we don't play till Saturday. So I think it's going to give us plenty enough time to acclimate to the time change. And I think we'll be ready. It's just what our kids know and they understand. And by the time the game kicks off, it doesn't matter whether it's West Coast time or East Coast time. We just know we got a football game to play and against a pretty good opponent, and we'll be ready.
All right, that sounds pretty simple. Jason Negro on the line tonight, St. John Bosco Braves. We're going to wrap up with a question here. It's unfair, but I'm going to let you be a media person here for a second.
Sure.
You know what's in the Trinity League. There's no surprise. You know the teams. You know the names and all that. Can you give us a quick handicap? Obviously, you guys have a lot of talent. 3-time defending champs. Where does the pressure come from, or don't you even take the time to do that at this point in the season? I'm sure you know a little bit though.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think there's pressures there. We ultimately you want to win games, and you know that when you've had success, you got a big target on your chest, and everybody's kind of gunning for you. We've done a pretty good thing for the last 3 years, and it's tough to do. And if you look back, I think it was right before we kind of gone on this run. Servite had a run of they won it like 7 straight years, something like that. But and they had a 19-game winning streak going through during that time in the Trinity League, which we're currently sitting at 16 straight wins. So our goal is to try to go out and win the 17th, 18th, 19th, and try to run through the league the best way we can. And it's super difficult. I don't think what people don't really understand is the physicality of it and what it takes mentally for your kids to have to prepare to play 5 straight games. There are no weeks off, and I know that sounds cliche, but there really isn't. Mm-hmm. If you understand and you know what we have to go through in our league, and the number of Division I players that we're constantly playing against each and every week, and the level of coaching that we have, it's quite a tall task. And for us to be able to accomplish this, we do have to take that one-game approach. each and every week, and we do have to be ready, and you have to have some luck. You have to stay healthy. The ball has to bounce your way a few times, and you got to get some calls from the officials, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of factors that play into it, but we're certainly going to compete as hard as we possibly can and continue to try to win games in this competitive league.
Yeah, and I'm going to push you one more time here. Can you get, where does the pressure come from? Who, aside from St. John Bosco, who else do you think is at the top near you guys this year if you are to get that fourth straight?
I think obviously, I'll say it. I think anybody in the league can be anybody on any night, but I think the front runners going into it, you always have to look at Mater Dei. They've done a tremendous job, and they've had a lot of consistency. Probably the most consistent team in the league from year in and year out, and Coach Rollinson does a tremendous job there. I think that Santa Margarita's got the most seasoned quarterback coming back, with KJ Costello and Coach Curtis over there. It's his second year, so he's going to kind of have his feet wet, and he understands what it's like, and they've got some pretty talented kids that have come in this off season that I think are going to help them. And I think that the team that nobody better sleep on and everybody better prepare for is Orange Lutheran. I know they struggled last year, but Coach Peterson's done a tremendous job. LJ Northington's coming back at quarterback. The offense that they run is extremely difficult to stop, and they had a lot of close games last year. And I think with the amount of returners that they have, with kind of the underdog mentality that I'm sure they're going to come into the season with, that's a team I think right now that maybe scares me the most is Orange Lutheran, because I think that they're the hungriest group, and I think they're the closest team to turning the corner in the league.
Great job. When you hang up the coaching whistle there, you're going to have to go into being an analyst for high school football for us. But, Coach, thank you. You were one of the first to kind of welcome us when we moved to Southern California here. We appreciate the relationship, and it's been fun to watch what you've been able to do since we got out here in 2012, and continued success and best of luck in the season. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. I really appreciate being on your program, and everything that you do for high school athletics is really tremendous, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, that will do it for tonight's show. I want to thank Jason Negro and Chris Wolfe of Male High School for joining us on the show tonight. Starting year number 5, again, a week from Saturday, we release our preseason High School Football America Top 25. Want to thank all of our partners on the show tonight, beginning with Echo 1612, Crossover, and the TDI Razor folks. Please patronize them. Great companies doing great things in the world of high school sports. All right, that's going to do it for now. We go away for a week, but don't forget, you can keep up with all the news by following us on social media at Twitter. HSFB America is our handle. Facebook, facebook.com/High School Football America, and also on the 2-minute drill that you can listen to on the website or free on iTunes. For now, this is Jeff Fisher saying good night and good sports from sunny Southern California. You've been listening to High School Football America on the Artist First Radio Network.